and welcome to Hadassah On Call, New Frontiers in Medicine. I'm your host, Maayan Hoffman. In today's episode, we delve into a topic that holds a personal connection for me, childbirth. I've experienced this miraculous journey 5 times over the span of 14 years. The evolution between welcoming my 20-year-old child in Jerusalem back in 2003 and my youngest, who is now 6 years old, is quite remarkable. Sandwiched in between were 3 births in the United States, a place with a markedly different healthcare system from that of Israel. I won't inundate you with the entirety of my birthing stories, but I'd love to share one. When my firstborn arrived, I lived approximately 40 minutes away from the hospital in Jerusalem. Being a first-time mother, the sensation of going into labor was an enigma for me. My mother came all the way from Kansas to support me, and she was tasked with getting me to the hospital. Kansas has pretty serene living conditions and pretty safe roads, but Israel is different. During that time, my husband wasn't driving, which meant my mother had the role of driving me multiple times along winding roads, sign-lacking paths, through the West Bank and into Jerusalem for the birth of my son Shlomo. The journey occurred on 3 separate occasions until the culmination of his birth. The memory of the last trip is etched in my mind. When I arrived at the hospital, I was only 2 centimeters dilated, and the nurses considered sending me home again. However, an unexpected rupture of my water prompted an immediate admission. Just 1 hour after being placed in a birthing room, my son made his entrance into the world. That was when I realized that my childbirth protocol involved being within the confines of a hospital room, and once there, the process was swift. My most recent daughter arrived in just 20 minutes, and there were no false visits to the hospital in advance. Shlomo was born on September 5th, 2003. Interestingly, September ranks among the most popular birth months, with September 9th standing as the most common birthday in the U.S. Thus, it's an opportune time to discuss the topic of babies and childbirth. Furthermore, September is synonymous with Rosh Hashanah, a celebration of renewal. On the Hadassah website, you'll discover a plethora of captivating narratives about the organization, spotlighting in some cases the infants they've brought into the world and the women who bore them. Take, for instance, the inspiring account of Walla Khatib. Despite grappling with kidney and heart ailments, Walla's unwavering determination to become a mother triumphed over all odds. Enduring dialysis while pregnant, her journey through an incredibly high-risk pregnancy was supported by the Hadassah village. Guided by a team of doctors, including nephrologists, cardiologists, and gynecologists, Walla navigated dangerous hurdles, even surviving cardiac arrest. Ultimately, both mother and child emerged with happiness and health. Another story involves Hadassah's Corrective Birth Clinic. Here, a young woman who battled through severe abuse and an attempted suicide, found love, married, and became pregnant. Tormented by the specters of her past, she turned to the Corrective Birth Experience Clinic at Hadassah Hospital Mount Scopus, tailored for women who've endured personal traumas or difficult births. Throughout the ordeal, the Hadassah team stood steadfastly by her side. On the day of her delivery, they provided unwavering support, fully aware of her unique circumstances. Dr. Lorinne Levitt, an obstetrician and gynecologist, the visionary behind the Corrective Birth Clinic, joins us today. Accompanying her is midwife Elisheva Levine. Together, they share insights into cutting-edge childbirth trends. A hearty welcome to both of you. So welcome, Dr. Levitt and midwife Elisheva Levine. Pleasure to have you here.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So just to make sure that our listeners know who we're talking to, I'd love to have you each tell me in a few sentences about your role at Hadassah Medical Organization. Elisheva, why don't you start?
I'm a midwife. I've been a midwife for about 17, 18 years, but over the past 6 years, I'm the head midwife of labor and delivery in Hadassah Mount Scopus.
Wonderful. And Dr. Levitt?
Okay, so I'm an OBGYN for the last around 13 years. I do mainly high-risk pregnancy, and I'm the head of the unit of the Maternal Fetal Medicine for the last 2 years. And also related to the podcast we are here today, we started a clinic of a corrective birth experience like 4 years ago in Hadassah Mount Scopus.
So tell me a little bit about that. The Corrective Birth Experience Clinic was specifically designed, from what I understand, to help women who have experienced some kind of personal suffering or trauma before getting pregnant or getting ready to have their baby. Tell me a little bit about the work that you do in the space that you've created and why you created it.
So this is a clinic which is run by doctors and midwives. It's a setup that we work together because these are the two main medical staff that are in the delivery room. So in each of them have a special place in the role of the labor process. So we are both sitting together and talking together with the woman. We handle two, or let's say three main categories of women that comes to see us. The first are women with prior trauma, some kind of sexual abuse trauma experienced, which during the labor process can have a lot of influence on that process, because there can be flashbacks and there can be a lot of triggers during the delivery process. Women are afraid to go into labor. And we talk to them and explain a lot of things and give them a lot of ways that the labor process can be easier for them and less traumatic. We don't want them to do a re-traumatic experience. The second group of women that comes are women with prior birth trauma, women who had some kind of trauma during their delivery because of medical complication, because of the way that some of the connection or the relationship with the staff members or other things can be that trauma is very, very subjective experience. So women who feels that their prior birth were traumatic, so can come to talk to us. And sometimes we see women who have like a very, very special issue, like vestibulitis, like very a problem to approach to vaginal exams. And they want to talk about it and think how we can handle that better.
And is that very different from the normal birthing experience? Do women who are not experiencing these traumas not receive this kind of dialogue in advance?
It would be perfect if we had time and staff to talk to each woman before they come to the delivery room and see what their are expectations and what their worries and what their, what they fear and what they want to be. But there is no such thing. It does in outside clinic, outside the hospitals where you meet women like in their normal follow-up. But we do a very, very specific meeting. It's the women are very excited to find out that there is such a thing in the hospital, because then they see that the staff sees them and understand their needs, and they come when there are less fear and less. The anxiety is very, very problematic when you come to the delivery room. There are a lot of things to be afraid of besides their specific needs.
So before we turn to Elisheva, I want to ask you one more question about this with regards to, the types of treatments or the types of, I don't know if the word is treatments, but the types of protocols that you use. What's new, what's innovative, and how do you combine what's happening on the physical side with the mental side during these meetings?
So we talk and we try to do like tailor management to the needs of the women. Not all the women are the same. Not every woman who had like a prior stillbirth, needs the same thing when she comes to the delivery room. Not every woman who needs something that to provide her more comfort during vaginal exams needs the same things. So it's very, very tailor management and very specific to the women itself. We try to do a lot of things. We're not a treatment. We're not psychiatrists. We're not therapists. We are for the gynecologic and from the midwife side. We do collaborate with a psychiatric that works with us if we see that things needs more intense work at that point. But we do have a lot of personal connection with the women who know that she has like personal staff to come to and talk to and send us text message when she comes, and then we talk to the staff that was there. All the staff in the delivery room know aware of that clinic, and we set up a set of rules or things that we that of agreements with the woman, okay, what we'll do and what we won't do during her time in the delivery room, and all the staff follows that. So it's very, very important for her.
So, Elisheva, here in Israel, it's actually very different than in the States. I myself have 5 kids, 2 born, my bookends born in Israel, and the 3 in the middle born in the US. And the experience is very different, largely because midwives manage the delivery here in healthy, normal births. So talk a little bit about that, and the process here in Israel and why that's so unique and special.
I think that's one of the sources of the midwives, Israeli midwives' pride. They're very proud of the fact that they're so independent and that they really are so long as we're talking about low risk physiological process of labor and delivery, the midwife is the main caretaker. She sees the woman as she comes in, and she understands what her needs are and acts accordingly. Of course, the medical staff is there, be there any, there should arise any kind of need for it, but she's there to accompany the woman, to be supportive of her, to listen to her. I liked what a word that Lorinne used. She's the word tailoring. There's something about tailoring treatment or care or to each woman is what she needs, what she wants, what's right for her, because we have a certain kind of, I would call it, something we love to see ourselves as giving personal delivery experience. What does that mean? It means if I really want my delivery to look in this way or that way, we'll do the best we can to make that come true. If I want a totally natural birthing experience and I want to be in a pool, or I want that, we'll do the best we can to make that happen. And the others is true. A woman could come in, we could see that if she really wanted to, she could deliver quite easily without an epidural, but she wants an epidural. So we're not going to convince her, oh, come on. No. That's what she wants. That's how she wants to deliver. So we'll do the best we can to tailor the birthing experience to her needs and to her desire, to her dream.
Amazing. Now, tell me a little bit about the steps that you take in terms of advising the women. They come in, and you said you don't try to change their birthing experience, but certainly you would have good advice or, information that you can share with them. And maybe that's different than what the OBGYN would say. Talk a little bit about that and how you.
So if we put into a very, very, we can divide the world between the whole labor and delivery world between the medical approach and the midwifery approach. Of course, it's not so clear as I'm making it out to be, but essentially most midwives have a tendency to really prefer the natural road, as they say. They believe that a woman has the strength. She has built-in ability to deliver. Her body can do it. And we're there for the woman to tell her, you can do it. We're with you. We're supporting you. We'll help you in any way you want, but you can do it. You can do it. We're not looking for problems. We prefer everything just to go, smoothly, and what a wonderful, wonderful process. Whereas, of course, the medical staff, which is their job, is looking to see where are the potholes, where is something that's might go wrong. So it's a different approach, and we work together to see that the woman undergoes the experience, the whole labor and birthing process with the experience she wants, but of course under full in a safe manner that's taking care of her and her baby in the best way. Quality medicine, quality midwifery.
Did you want to say something?
Yes, I want to say that this is like how we were raised to work. We are raised to work that who runs the delivery room are the midwives. Okay, they're doing all the physiological deliveries. We are not interfering in the natural process. As doctors, not all of us believe that we need to interfere. Most of us believe that we don't need to interfere. When my patients ask me, when will I see you? Saying, I'm coming to say hello. Oh, I'm coming when there are problems. I'm not interfering with the natural process. Which the midwives does that perfectly. And I think it's unique in Israel, and I think it's unique in our delivery room because there are other delivery rooms in Israel where the doctors are the center and the midwives are just helping them. They're doing their instructions, and we don't do that way. And I think it makes the delivery room in Mount Scopus very special.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of truth to that with regards to the difference between Israel and America, because having done, the half and half sort of, experience, I really preferred the Israeli experience for that reason. I do. I think
There's something like, so I could say, bit more, I'd say soft. I'm not sure that's the correct word in English, about having a midwife there, and she accepts you and she goes through the process, and she's not hurrying. She's not looking to, as they say, to intervene or to do something. She has the patient say, let's see what happens. Let's go. We'll go with you, and we'll see what's, how the process develops. And I think that we all know, and this also connects with a lot of this, what Dr. Lorinne has said, is that how a woman feels, the ambience in the room, have extreme significance on what she feels, and also what's going to happen in the end. If a woman is calm, she knows she's in good hands, she knows the process is okay, then she can allow herself to allow her body to just to flow with the process, not fight it, and not full of scare. So the importance of all the preparation that Lorinne's clinic is preparing is to help that woman to say, it's okay. And I've told this again and again to new word, but one of our most important jobs is we're to say, hey, we know we've been here before. We've done that. It's okay. We know what's going to happen. It's scary. You come in, your body's doing all kinds of things, but it's okay. We're here.
Well, speaking of done it before, I understand you yourself have 8 children, right? And you've, from what I understand, also delivered over 1,000 babies. Is that correct?
Yeah, I'm not really counting anymore. As a new midwife, you count and you say to yourself, okay.
I lost track. So what would you say are the biggest myths of childbirth? What culture and societal factors are actually influencing people's preferences today? And what sort of true?
Oh, wow. Wow, that's a wonderful question. I'll tell you why. Because there's the one myth that says babies just pop out. It's just going to happen. People are really afraid. So they'll often come way, way, way too early into labor and delivery. And wait a second, it doesn't go that fast. Things usually, a woman usually has quite a few, a lot of time of contractions, and she's feeling things. And we also, as a staff, we usually can say, hey, it's okay. You've got more time. It's okay. And the idea that if I don't come in 3 days ahead of time, I'm just going to deliver on the way. And so therefore, I'm really afraid. The myth is, hey, baby just comes. No, it usually doesn't. In 98% of the time, it doesn't just happen that way. There are those deliveries that are very, very quick, but usually it's got a good few hours there, which you can prepare yourself, the preliminary signs that say, hey, we're on our way. Another myth, which I think is really important to mention, is that a C-section is not as good. Some people will come in and say, anything, I want anything, but not a C-section. No cesarean. And you sometimes say, well, listen, Baruch Hashem, thank God, there is that option, because we all believe that our bodies can do it. But you know what? But sometimes things get complicated. There can be different complications we don't know, and we don't want the baby or the woman to suffer. And therefore, we have to remember that our goal is everyone's goal, the woman, the husband, the family, the doctor, the midwife, that at the end of the day, you've got a healthy mother and a healthy baby. The rest is nice. It's important. Everything's important. We're all for it. But what are you going home with? What's the take-home message? Healthy baby, healthy mother. So if it has to be C-section, okay, good. That's not what you dreamed of. That's what you wanted. But you're getting a healthy baby and you're healthy. And that's the main thing. A healthy mother can take care of a healthy baby.
I'm always telling my patients that, the delivery process, which is very, very important for me, the delivery experience, is still a small way during parenthood. It's a very, very, very small part of that. And I always tell them that when you will celebrate their first birthday of the baby, you won't look at him and say, oh, you were born in C-section. I'm not as good mother because that's the way you were delivered. It's not important for the long way. We still believe that if a woman wants to deliver in a vaginal delivery, we'll do everything we can to help her deliver that way. But as Elisheva says, that's not the goal.
You're mentioning about there not being an ideal birthing experience, but isn't it true today from research that the birthing experience actually can impact the child long-term? That we're learning about pregnancy and birthing actually have some kind of impact?
I think that the experience and the way the woman is having her delivery experience, and if she is happy or not happy with that, or if it's related to past traumatic experience, can mainly reflect on the interaction with the baby. it has an effect on post of a postpartum depression. It can have a relation with how she reflects with the baby, how she will want more, if she wants more babies, at what intervals. It can change the interval. Like if a woman might have wanted to have 5 or 6 or 10 children, and for some reason you see that, and she comes with the community, which usually that's what happened, and then you see that she's not getting pregnant, and she doesn't want to get pregnant. She's very, very afraid of the next pregnancy and the next delivery. So I don't think it has an infection on some part of the physiologic well-being, but if there is no good connection between the mother and the baby, that can affect the baby's health, future health.
I fully agree that we often will see all kinds of different kinds of behavior and reactions that the mother can have during the birthing process and right afterwards that may teach us tell us a little about how she's dealing with motherhood. And it is important. I believe there's, for every woman, each birthing experience, it's something she takes with her whole life. She'll always recall and remember this happened, that happened, on one hand. On the other hand, it's, as Lorinne said, it's just the beginning. It's just the very, very first beginning of a lifetime of interaction with your children. It's one thing to have a baby, the real thing to raise the children.
Yes, we all know that. So, women are having babies a lot later today. Back in the time that I was having kids, we were in our 20s, and today people are having in their late 30s and their 40s. Do you have any advice for older parents?
Oh, I see a woman coming in her first delivery, like the age of 30 or even beyond that. I take into account that she doesn't have that same support that she would have if she was giving birth at 20, 21, 22. Her mother was there and her aunt was there, and she may be living alongside her parents. At the age of 30 something, she's more on her own. She expects it of herself. She's independent financially, and also she often doesn't live alongside her mother. So therefore, it's something can be a bigger challenge. And also, after the age of 30, you've built your life. You know how you want your life to run. And I try to tell these women, or kind of help prepare them, that I think it's the biggest change in a woman's life, more than anything else, when you become a mother. Your whole life's going to change by 360 degrees. It's not the same. There's before you have a child and after you have a child. And there's no question about it that the age of 21, 22, yes, it is. Your life is not totally, it is your own, but and the age of 30, 31, 32, 40, I think the how do you say, the transaction is much more difficult. And we actually, in Hadassah, we have one of our amazing midwives who has developed a support group of women that she helps them prepare for their first delivery. She has classes for pre-delivery,
like prenatal classes.
Uh-huh. And they develop a group, and then she often will continue with some of these women afterwards. And she'll have them come in, let's say a month or 2 months afterwards, and they get together and they learn about caring for babies, and they serve as a supportive group, one to each other. And you have someone to help with nursing, and you have it gives them additional support, and so many of them need it. They need to get out of the house. They need to see someone else, and it's a wonderful the support group that she has developed. In addition to the fact that, because I have some daughters who've delivered over the past few years, that also has developed in the community. It's many more support groups that are provided by all kinds of groups that women get together. There's those few months when they're at home and they have somewhere to go, people to meet, something to learn about, and it's wonderful because they develop also relationships that otherwise each one would be in their own home and seeing what to do with his baby.
Right. So tell me, what other medical specialists do you feel that you need to collaborate with in order to ensure, from the medical side, that everything goes well? Obviously, the OBGYN is the center of the universe for these birthing mothers, but there are other specialists, I think, that get involved. Talk a little bit about that and what Hadassah does to ensure the health of the mom and the baby with delivery.
If you're talking mostly about the process which you do before the delivery, our main collaboration is with a special clinic that calls Hila Clinic, which is It was run in Hadassah, and it's run by a psychiatrist and psychologist, which are all their main focus and the main treatments are in women around the cycle of birth, of fertility, and things that are related to that. They do amazing job of giving a lot of support and therapy for the woman, and they're specialized in that only in that point. Unlike post-traumatic experience, it can be the experience before the delivery or after the delivery. We do now a very, very big collaboration, which we try to, we're on our way to run a very big center in Hadassah, in Mount Scopus, which will all be related to all the things that are involved, mind and body of the woman, related to the things around motherhood and delivery, which will have their special, DIADA clinic to deal with postpartum depression, and a lot of working group working, which will be dealing with that factors. I think that besides the psychiatrists, we do need a lot of help from all the other medical things that are related, which are mainly, I think, all the things related to epidural, and to get the women having their epidural on time. Sometimes we need to do efforts, of doing special things, like usually we give epidural when a woman is in active labor. And for women who are very, very afraid, we try to do the epidural even if in a very early stage. Sometimes I say to women, you'll come to the delivery room, we'll do an epidural, and only after that we'll check you. So that requires communication and agreement from the doctors to perform the epidural. So this is our main collaboration. We also run a few. We have in Hadassah, we have a lot of.
So I was going to entail. I just want to say, because I was going to talk about something which really is exciting. Okay. Over the past 2 years, we've introduced into labor and delivery, mamish, the labor and delivery rooms. We've introduced maternal medicine specialists, maternal treatment. We call them people who practice acupuncture, who practice reflexology, holistic medicine, and they're in labor and delivery. We often will see a woman, we can identify a woman that she can perhaps be helped by one of these specialists, one of these caretakers, and she goes in, she offers these women options, and sometimes you can get the birth process going a bit more. It's amazing the things they can do that is really, it's not our realm of practice. Both Dr. Lorinne and I, we have a different way of approaching treating women, but they have that additional aspect that can be so significant.
It's amazing.
And women love it. We love it. They've been in labor and delivery now for 2 years, and I must say it's one of the most successful new things that we can say exist.
Interesting. I did reflexology for each of my kids in advance, and whenever I knew I was going into labor, I did acupuncture that day to prepare for the birth. And my oldest is 20 now, but it was, and I really do believe in that. I think that's so interesting. I did not know they had incorporated that.
Before, you need to go to someone private who does that, and now you have it during the delivery process. The fact that it can help relax, and then do things that make the delivery process progress, and the head goes down, and it's amazing.
It is amazing. It is amazing.
Incredible. Is Hadassah the only hospital that's offering that today?
I would love to say yes. That would be a lie. It exists in this day and age. I think it's something which is offered by many hospitals in Israel. And what's exciting is that so many of the caretakers that do come in are people who they have private clinics. And they're very familiar with all the rest of the aspects of a woman's health, and they help a woman when she's pregnant, and they help her afterwards. And they love the fact that they can come in and be there when the real thing happens, and they love it. For most of them, they come in. We have a whole staff. Each one comes in about a shift a week or so, and it's amazing. It's totally win-win situation.
That is really special. Yeah. I mean, I guess it's been too long. I missed out on all of that being in the hospital, but no, that's okay. We're good. Okay. So I'm wondering if each of you can share a success story, something that really exemplifies the work that you're doing day to day.
Wow. That's a question that gives a lot of thought, because I think what we see as success. What is a successful story? It means when you've reached the goal that you wanted to reach. When you have a woman who comes in and says, wow, my experience was great. I went to visit yesterday. I went to visit one of my nieces who delivered, and she was coming in. She came in the nighttime, so I arranged for one of the midwives who gives. Well, I'd say she's more. I'd say she has a body, but her heart is the main part of her. That's who she is, and so she was with her, and this is her fourth delivery. And she says, "Wow, it was a wonderful experience." Now, I know that it was not a simple path. I mean, she had all kinds of ups and downs but her subjective feeling is that it was a wonderful experience. Wow. I think that's a success. And I must say, we have many stories like that.
I need to, I feel exactly the same, because I don't think you can count like a very specific success story. For each woman who comes to our clinic and then smiles on the way out and say thank you for being for existing. This is like the power that we need to continue. And we saw women who wouldn't have thought of delivering ever again, and then she said, "Okay, I'm thinking about the next one, and it's good." And like I said, because all the personal experience is subjective, so what counts is how the woman felt after that. It's not if I feel it's like a very special thing or a very big thing. Small things for each woman. This is her only delivery. Our goal is to make it as good as we can.
So I want to ask a little bit about some of the more scientific aspects of all of this as well. Diet, for example. Do things that the woman eats, can it influence the delivery?
I don't think so. I think that the delivery process has a very, very special path that we don't fully understand. We don't know what starts the delivery process. We don't know how to control each aspect of the progress. I do think that what we see now, and there's a lot of research that shows that the mental status of the woman, the emotional status of her, influence even more than the medicine that we'll give her. Okay, they are experiencing virtual reality during childbirth. Okay, that we see that it's helpful. There are research to demonstrate that if you show a woman on ultrasound, which she can have like a feedback of the way she pushes, okay, and she sees the progress on frame, which is something different to me standing on the other side and say, okay, it's good, it's coming. So the power of her pushing is much more significant. So we need to work on the connection between the mind and the body. This is, I think, is the best thing, because other things we know how to handle. We know how to make contractions. We know how to deal with that. We don't know how to deal with the women who are not progressing. And I think most women who are not progressing properly, most, not all, there is something that we are not fully understand of the connection between the women and of how she feels around the delivery. If she's afraid of that, if she doesn't afraid, she's not afraid.
Are there any new technologies that you're using? I mean, is AI factoring in already to giving birth, or any new tools that are?
We do. There is a lot of work today, like ultrasound during delivery, performing ultrasound during delivery. Like we use it as a tool to see how the labor progress. We see it as a tool to see if we can do instrumental delivery. And on that point, I think that a long time, the AI will be helpful to understand what the doctor who is not very experienced, like markers of science that things that can happen. There is a lot of research of studying the monitor, the fetal heart rate monitor, which to use AI as better way to interpret the pattern and to see what we're missing. And until now, it's not a success. Like we still need the human eye and the human mind to understand that properly.
One of the doctors on our staff is really big on big data. He's done researching on big data. He's told us a bit what the things, what's being taken into account, and into account many factors, and you put them together. Sometimes that can help make decisions regarding which woman can deliver and which maybe, if you take into account this factor, that factor, whatever. It sounds really amazing. I think it's perhaps still in the stages of research. I don't know how much it's being used clinically today, but it's there. It's there on the horizon.
That you'd maybe be able to predict if you're going to have a cesarean in advance, and so therefore you set up the cesarean, that kind of thing.
Or how, if the process has gone this way and the woman is this way, and who knows what, and her pelvic is built in such a way. Take into account a lot of different factors, and of course statistics, and you can kind of have more of an idea where you're going.
Yeah, that's so interesting. Actually, more like predictive analytics, I guess.
Something like that. Yeah. Dr. Isha is dealing with that.
Yeah. When you think about the future of maternal fetal medicine and the roles that each of you have, where do you see it going, and how do you see yourselves contributing to what that looks like, let's say, in the next decade?
Wow. There's no question. We heard even things that you've said 20 years ago when you delivered, and the experiences we had when we were younger and delivering, as opposed to what goes on now. I think worldwide, women are becoming more aware of what they want, what they need. People are more aware of their needs. As a young woman, I came in and they told me to do this, I did that. It's like, that's what you do. You do what you're being told to do. The approach today is so different in the sense that the woman gets ready ahead of time, and she thinks about it, and she goes online, and she talks to this one, she goes to that one, she talks to this therapist, that therapist, and she has more an idea. She's much more opinionated. And that means we as a staff have to take that into account, that she's coming in, she's much more knowledgeable, and she has her desire to do things in one way and not the other. And we have to, of course, respect that. And I see it, we're only going more and more in that direction, because worldwide, people know more, and they're less willing to take whatever the doctor says as a given.
I agree with Elisheva, because I think that slowly we're going to a path where the woman is the center, which is not what was like 25 years ago. We give a lot of space to the woman needs and to her wishes. I do hope on another phase that there will be more tools for safer deliveries, safer both for the mother and the baby, because still today, there are complications during delivery, which, like I said before, the fetal monitor is it's not perfect tool. So I hope we'll have more tools, maybe with AI, maybe with other things that can help us prevent complications during delivery.
Is there anything else that either of you want to add that I didn't ask you, or you think that our listeners would want to know that we can talk about?
I always like to end with the fact that I think one of the most amazing processes that any woman can experience or go through in life is a delivery process. I think it's something which we're very proud to be part of that, to accompany women during this wonderful process and stage of life. And anyone who's around a woman, who surrounds a woman, be it her mother, her grandmother, or her whoever it may be, is there to encourage her, to tell her, you can do it. You can do it.
I would just say that as more like from the medical point of view, we are there. I want all the women to know that we are there for them, that we're not doing, that our goal is their goal. And we work together. We're not against each other. A lot of women in delivery think that, the doctor is coming. Now I need to be like on my guard to see that if everything is going okay. Our goal is together to get a good, healthy baby out there.
Well, thank you both very much. We have Elisheva Levine and Dr. Lorinne Levitt here. Thank you very much for your time.